The 2025 Diamond League season is officially in full swing, and the world's best are finally starting to hit those world-class marks that we have all been waiting for. This final 4-meet stretch in the Diamond League series that we are currently in the middle of right now is looking like a golden couple of weeks for athletics. We just saw the incredible times achieved in Silesia, Poland. The fields are looking super deep for today's meeting in Lausanne, and for the final 2 competitions in Brussels and Zurich, we're already getting glimpses of the fields announced for these 2 final stops before the World Champs on September 13th. Based on what we saw in the most recent Diamond League event in Silesia, which included various world leads, countless personal bests, and 3 new Diamond League records, today's competition is set to be just as impressive from a statistical perspective. Well, that was until we saw the weather unfolding. For today's meeting in Lausanne, the conditions are muggy, cold, rainy, and the wind seems quite unpredictable. These conditions are tough. This is a lot of rain we're dealing with. It's even affecting the camera operations. And while this isn't necessarily the worst thing for distance running, for the sprints and anything under 800 meters, it will be quite difficult to attain fast times, as lower temperatures and especially the rain can slow you down quite significantly. Well, that was what we initially thought. However, for today's Diamond League meeting, the athletes saw these conditions and laughed, because this competition in Lausanne was nothing short of incredible. And again, this proves to me that this year's World Champs in Tokyo, Japan are going to be incredible. To kick things off in this hurricane-type conditions event, let's head over to the highly anticipated men's 100-meter dash, again featuring Noah Lyles, but this time, Kashane Thompson was not present, as he pulled out of this event a few days ago, citing sore shins moving into this meet. But his absence did not dampen the excitement of this men's 100, because Kashane's fellow countryman, Oblique Seville, this year's London Diamond League winner, was present, and he has been looking insanely sharp in 2025. He's already run a 9.83 this season, he's gone under 9.9 4 times, and in his most recent 100-meter race in London, he went 9.86 into a negative wind of negative 0.6, which converts to a wind-adjusted mark right at 9.8. Oblique's start this year has honestly been off the charts, but the question remained, could he put together another similar type performance in this year's Lausanne meeting, and could he do it in the rain? Well, the short answer is yes, he very much could do this. For this men's 100, Oblique captured a massive victory in the rain at 9.87 seconds, taking down Noah Lyles in second with a time of 10.02. This 100 right here might make Seville the outright favorite moving into the World Championships. I mean, it was really that strong of a victory, and to do it in the rain and also into a negative wind yet again was just incredible to see. Now again, we have some very interesting graphical breakdowns to view for this 100, and as you can see in this race, Seville absolutely dominated. Over the opening 4 seconds, it was the 2 Jamaicans, Akeem Blake and Seville, but after reaching 6 seconds, this race completely belonged to Seville. Now, as we did see in the previous installment in Silesia, Lyles was able to close over the final 4 seconds, and he made up some solid ground on the field. Honestly, it was impressive that Lyles got up to second, because he had a very slow reaction to the gun, and he only got through 60 in 6.56. And even if we look at his earlier moments, he was in dead last through the opening 10 meters, and he was more than a tenth behind Seville. But over those final 40, Noah did his job once again, closing like a train. But what was amazing to see in this 100 is that Oblique Seville ran the exact same final 40 as Lyles did, as they both clocked 3.46. If Seville gets his patented rocket start, just like he did here, and he can simply hold on come the World Finals, he will be very difficult to take down in Tokyo. Over in the women's 800, we once again had a truly dominant performance from Keely Hodgkinson. Now, Hodgkinson had been injured for an entire year. However, for the Silesia Diamond League meeting, she set a new meeting record at 1:54, making this one of the quickest 800 debuts of all time. So moving into Lausanne, she was certainly the favorite, and again, she did not disappoint. With another meeting record of 155.69, Hodgkinson won this race by a second and a half, as she took down Audrey Wero from Switzerland, who ran a time of 157.34. Now, again, there is a graphical breakdown of this race, and just take a look at how dominant Hodgkinson was after reaching the 1 minute mark. As you can see, everyone else, and I do mean everyone, was falling behind over this final stretch, and over the final 20 seconds, Hodgkinson was truly separating from the field, making this one of the most impressive and complete 800 races of 2025. It's also notable to mention that through 400, Hodgkinson hit a time of 56.4, which, if you're familiar with the 800, is actually world record pace. So if the conditions are better and Hodgkinson can get a little bit more race sharp, potentially she could challenge that world record of Jarmila Kratochvílová that goes all the way back to 1983. Sticking to the 800 meters, let's head over to the men's 800, which featured last year's Olympic champion Emmanuel Wanyonyi and also last year's silver medalist in the 800, Marco Arop. Now, on paper, it makes sense to say that Wanyonyi was going to battle against Arop over the final 100 and probably run a crazy fast time. But that is not what we saw, because with one of the best kicks that I can remember in his career, Josh Hoey from the United States finished this race in 142.8 to take a huge win over last year's Olympic champion and the silver medalist. Now, I could be wrong, but Hoey might be on a super deep revenge tour after not quite making it onto the US team in the 800, which certainly was a shock. He was this year's indoor world champion. He'd already run a 142 flat, so to come out here and pull out this huge victory is a big deal. And this proves to me that he is gunning for that Diamond League Championship trophy, and if he can earn that, he can actually make his way back to the world champs, but that will certainly be a challenging task. Even in the rain, we saw 5 athletes dip under 144, and for Hoey, he went under 13 seconds for this final 100 meters. A very impressive performance from this United States athlete. Lastly, I wanted to give a special shout out to Cordell Tench in the United States, as he managed to break 13 seconds in the men's 110 hurdles, and this victory was huge. He won this race by over 1/10 of a second, and to get under 13 in the rain again is just incredible. Cordell Tench might be the favorite to win this year's World Championships. He's had that good of a season, he's run a 12:87 to put him in the top 5 all time, and even though this man used to sell cell phones to make ends meet, he is now dominating the world, and it will be very interesting to watch Tench race against Grant Holloway come this year's world champs. And again, just look at this graph. Tench continued to put distance on everyone in the field, and it was not even close. This year's Diamond League meeting in Lausanne was a little underwhelming from a total numbers standpoint. The rain was just too strong today, and it was simply too much to overcome for the athletes. But if conditions can simply be okay moving into the final 2 Diamond League meetings and this year's World Championships, I would not be surprised to see at least one major world record be broken. And now I would love to hear from all of you about this year's Lausanne Diamond League meeting. What do you think about these races? What do you think about the times? And putting it into context, what do you think about these performances in the rain? Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.